This is what you decide to put into your life. This is you, these are your emotions, and this is your logic. One thing that I love about this is, as we start out in life, everything is balanced. However, our culture, our experiences, and our life then determines how these balances move. However, most of the times, our emotions are the ones that get the better part of us. We get to exercise our emotional muscle more than we get to do our logical muscle. How do I explain this? For example, it is easier for you to express yourself when you're sad. Maybe someone has passed away, or it is easier for you to express yourself when you're happy. You passed an examination. However, one thing that we see is that our logic usually suffers the consequences of us only taking part or exercising our emotional muscle. However, we realize that the logic aspect of us usually suffers, but we don't do anything to help ourselves to balance the scale of life. And usually that's when we start feeling overwhelmed. That's when we start having those feelings of worthlessness. We start having those feelings of hopelessness, anger. But because it is so strong and because it is so exercised, our emotional muscle, it then means that the weaker vessel or the weaker logic gets to suffer the most. How then do you get to balance out your life? At this particular point in time, there is what we call injustice in your life. That's when you realize or start looking at yourself from a point or you're experiencing depression, you're experiencing anxiety, and you can see that it is almost time that your life or yourself, your balance is lost. And it is easier for you to tip over. How then do you solve this? It's easier said than done, but let's start looking at it. It's easier to say, for example, because you have exercised your emotional side for so long, you then realize that at times you need to say, okay, fine, there's a problem, maybe at work. Someone comes and unjustly accuses you of something. How do you respond to that person? Do you choose to react immediately, or do you choose to take time? If you choose to take time, that means you're taking time and you're making smaller steps to balancing out your scale that has been that is almost tipped over. If you then say, okay, fine, let me calm down first before I choose to do anything. Calming down, you realize that your balance scale or your life moves closer to a point where you are balanced and you're in tune with yourself. And what is it that you can also do to move yourself from this imbalance? You can also choose to say, okay, fine, I want to learn a new skill. What's a new skill that you can learn? You can learn maybe how to use a computer. You try learning a new skill or a new language, and this then helps you to then get that balance that you're looking for. And the closer you are to that balance, the more you feel at ease with yourself. You do not feel those feelings of worthlessness or hopelessness because you're at ease. And one other thing that you can also do is to have a creative mind. How do you have a creative mind? You choose to join maybe a pottery class. You choose to start learning how to do art. And this actually then also helps you balance it. But in the process of balancing your logic with your emotion, you do not also need to neglect your emotional side. How then do you not neglect your emotional side? You choose to say, okay, fine, I'm going out for a cup of tea with my friends, right? Because it makes me happy. Do things that make you happy. Remember, you're feeling those thoughts of worthlessness and those thoughts of hopelessness. So one thing that you need to realize as you're moving is you need to move together in unison. The more you realize that life is a constant movement of you trying to find balance within the two, and at times the balance may never be achieved. But if you realize that the closest you can get is the best that you can have, that's when you can start living better, and that's when you can start living a peaceful life. And those small steady steps that you're taking, those small steady steps will lead you to the best version of yourself that you can ever be. Thank you so much for joining the Compassionate Couch. My name is Mashta Jelangwaira, and I'm an occupational therapist. Goodbye.